Hello, 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 and welcome to the Drag Race RHAPup here on reality TV RHAPups. I'm your host, Liana Boraas, and today we're going to be talking about episode 6 of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 9. We're going to get into the roast of everything, the looks, and the mini challenge, which I thought was very fun. Stirred up a little bit of drama with the straw poll. So first, let me welcome in our wonderful panel here with me this week. It is, of course, Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
I am well. I love a good roast. And I thought that this was a pretty decent one. So, yeah, I'm glad to be back talking some Drag Race. We're at the final 8, as Vanjie would say. So,
Yeah, as we have been the whole season. We love it. And Beth, how about you? How are you?
I, just like this roast, am a hot mess. And by that, I mean, like, the roast wasn't a hot mess. It's just the roast is hot because it's a roast. I don't know. I can't think very well. I've been working very hard. So I apologize in advance.
I could see, I saw the vision.
Thank you. Yes.
I support you.
I just need our listeners to understand. I'm going to need you to take some massive leaps and from one end to a ravine, crevice. I don't know what I'm talking.
Yes, canyon. Strong.
I'm so sorry.
Look, and Aman and I are here also to help do the work and help you jump over that canyon, Beth, of your thoughts. Okay, we're here. We're gonna make it streamlined, seamless, and gorgeous, just like the runways this week. No problem at all. All right. Well, I think we're really going to start with the hot topic, as it were, being a roast. Aman, you said you really enjoyed the roast this week, and I think that was sort of the overall impression, at least the judges, like, on the day. It felt like no one really screwed it up, and in the past, that has not been the case.
Oh, most definitely not. There's always at least one queen that sort of just falls flat, like, let's get this roast to cook in, and then never turns the stove on. So I think that everybody was pretty decent here. I mean, there were a few that were a little bit more lackluster than others, but I think everyone had at least one good zinger. Some of the zingers were like really cutthroat, and I was like, whoa! But sometimes you need that in a row. Sometimes you need like the hard hitting ones that's like, oh shit, like, should I laugh at that? I love that in a row. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought that they did a pretty good job.
I agree, Mon. I think that half the time when we see roasts on Drag Race, they're not willing to push the envelope far enough. Like, the point of a roast is that you border on inappropriate or even play with the inappropriate line. It's not a stand-up comedy challenge, which can be very, very different. So I don't know. I really liked this roast. I thought they did a great job. And like you said, I only felt like there were a couple of people who maybe weren't as dynamic as I thought they'd be, but everybody was great.
Part of me wonders, because I picked up on the exact same thing, right? That people were, I think, going a little bit further. And I wonder if part of that is what I believe Roxy says to Bob in Untucked, which is essentially the fact that it's a non-elimination season. Is
Bob was the person in Untucked?
Yeah, well, because Bob did the like little intro thing and then was there just for a little bit.
I didn't watch. Oh, okay. So I expected Ruta Lee to be like the main girl.
Oh, and she was there too. The Untucked was very. I'll summarize Untucked for you. Bob asked a whole bunch of questions about how the season is going. The girls answered. Bob goes, "Great job," and then leaves. Gottmik is in her feelings and doesn't say something the entire time. Ruta comes out, makes everybody just like, yes, queen. She's from a different generation. She's amazing. And then she leaves. And then Gottmik's like, wow, I feel so much better from this like powerful presence of Ruta. And that's basically it.
Yeah, that was actually a very good.
And that's what you missed last week on Glee.
I mean, to be honest, like, Untucked has sucked this season.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just overall, it's been globally horrible. I've watched it on 2X and I'm bored. Like, I'm so bored. So it was just seeing Bob there was so exciting and hilarious because we had talked about Bob being potentially on Traitors, right? So that was also oh my God. Okay, got me even more hyped, but yeah.
Oh, this is the other thing, Aman. He was already sitting on the couch out of drag when the queens enter the untucked lounge, and they're all so focused on the House of Love cocktails that nobody notices Bob.
I probably thought he was a PA or something.
He's also wearing red, and he's sitting on a red couch, and I just feel like it was one of those situations where they were just like, well, look at that in a second, but they were just like, ooh, look at all the cocktails, and all of a sudden Plastique turns around with like those white lashes and liners. She's like, what the hell? And then I was like, Bob was like, how long, guys?
I love that. I'm definitely gonna watch it after we're done with this now.
I was so excited to hear your thoughts on it, so you'll have to text them to me after.
I'll let you know.
So I think, so anyway, so to sort of go back to the idea of, why was this a better roast? I think that there's a couple of reasons why it might be. One is what we just talked about, which is essentially it's not elimination season. So the queens can feel comfortable to maybe tell jokes that they were nervous to tell. For example, Roxy reading Mama Ru for not remembering their names, which I think was maybe my favorite gag from the whole roast. 100%. So fun. It could also be, again, you have 2-3-time players when it comes to Drag Race. They know what to expect. They're more comfortable, even if they're not comedy queens and other people are going to ghostwrite their jokes. They're at least prepared. Or if you're going to plagiarize your jokes, if you're, we'll get into Gottmik and all the drama surrounding that. But I think that there's a lot of reasons why this was so much more successful than especially the, regular season roasts that we see.
Well, I was trying to think, have they done a proper roast on Drag Race All-Stars before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And the one that comes to mind, they did for All-Stars 7. I know they did a roast.
Oh yeah, they did. Yep.
They did one for All-Stars 4. I can't remember if they did one for All-Stars 5, but I feel like they probably did. Did they do one last season? For All-Stars 8?
I don't remember.
I just remember Stankfinger, and that's about it. So I don't remember All-Stars 8 that much. That thing still haunts me to this day.
Well, I do. I'm not going to lie, because I keep forgetting that, because I think All Winners in my head was the last All-Star season, and then I have forgotten about
it. Is that happens to me too. It's kind of like Big Brother 22. It's like sometimes I forget that it like was a thing. And I just go from 21 to 23. It's a fever dream.
It was a really bad one.
Yeah. Because that was on the Jimbo one, right?
I thought you meant BB22.
She is the current reigning All-Stars queen.
Big Brother champion.
Big Brother champion beat Cody. It was amazing.
Yes, Cody won All-Stars 8. Jimbo won Big Brother 22.
Could you imagine
Devon with Miss Congeniality?
Fiore. On All-Stars, Candy Muse would have eaten him alive. Okay. Just look at me, producers of Traitors. Season 4, Cody Calafiore, Candy Muse. Make it happen. Thank you.
That or House of Villains. I would also accept them on House of Villains.
I would love that too. Candy Muse is going to be on House of Villains.
Oh my God! Please get Polly Calafiore that. I don't know if they've already filmed it or not, but I don't know.
I think it's already filmed. Yeah,
damn,
or currently filming. Yeah,
I am just asking for Gia Gunn. That's all I want.
Oh yeah, that should have been happened.
For sure.
Yeah. What were we talking about? The roast.
The roast. Yeah.
I forgot that this was kind of a RuPaul's Drag Race.
If it was good or not, and why it could have been good. I mean, I feel like this roast in particular, I agree with some of the theories that it was definitely you don't have as big of a fear as going home. I think we saw that specifically with Gottmik, where one of her jokes was about being gangbanged by the cast of Glee, and Michelle was like, that might be a bit too much, and she's like, I'm still gonna say it. So
that was one of my favorite confessionals of all time. It's like immediately cutting her. I'm still probably gonna say gang bang. And the way she says it like that, I was like, I love that.
So I think they're definitely more amenable to taking risks. Sure. But I also feel like maybe there a certain drawback to that is if you know that you cannot fail, I feel like you probably are like, well, what the hell? I might as well say it because I know I cannot go home. And some of the, jokes that you might not have taken a risk on, you still did. So yeah, I thought that really lent itself to them having a good time with it. And just the shade that was going on just between the queens in general over these damn cuts and badges. So Yeah, I think this is a proper breeding ground for a good roast.
The other thing for the roast is that it was officially the Drag National Convention roast, I believe was the title, which I will say that didn't really seem to factor into it at all, except for the staging and then the signs that the audience had. That it was so funny because I think they were trying to be campaign signs, but they were just the name.
Yeah.
There was no stars, no stripes.
Well, if they had made the idea of this is that you had to pretend to be a political candidate roasting the other candidate,
Yes.
like make up the platform. It's very similar to kind of like the season 8 acting challenge where they had to be paired up with a queen they were not getting along with and then do the political campaign like videos. If you did a roast of that, I think that would have been more effective.
I think so too. Like have everybody at a podium doing the split screen when queens kind of get into it, like a bit of like a roast mixed with improv. Like I feel like that would have definitely been a lot more memorable, a lot more. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the one with Jada Essence Hall. Look over there. That was like a campaign thing, right? But was that a roast or was that just they were just having a debate? Like it was an improv.
That was a debate, and
it was like an improv debate.
Yeah, it was the same as season 4. Where they had the same structure with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
With one of my favorite things of all time, you know, like politics in this world can get ugly. How can you know that you're going to have to make peace with that? About 5 minutes ago, I looked over at Miss O'Hara and I realized that she is ugly. And I'm at peace with that.
And I'm at peace with that.
Latrice could never do any wrong after that in my book. That was the best thing I've ever heard. And the fact that she didn't do well in that challenge, I was like, that alone should have put her in the top 2. I'm sorry. So, yeah. So basically, this is also just like a drag PSA because at this rate, I'm sure we're going to have drag for the next 100 years of Drag Race on because I'm convinced, I think already RuPaul's an AI robot, but whatever. I think you have to be prepared if you are applying for a year where this is going to air and in an election year, you are going to have something campaign related. So come prepared with some campaign related humor or roasting like insults or just a little bit more political know-how than you may in the past, just so you feel more comfortable in this situation.
Right, because 2020 was the year they did the debate, right? Or that was like the season.
Yep, that was 12. 8.
Yeah, everything's a blur.
So yeah, it's season 4, season 8, season 12, season 16 / now All Stars. So like you have to kind of, they didn't do anything for the regular season as far as, but for 16, but they did for All Stars. So
yeah,
just saying.
Smart.
No, not a bad shout.
The other thing about this, before we get into like the meat and potatoes of the actual roast, roast.
I love that. Great. Great
yeah, I felt like explaining it in detail instead of just letting it land and moving on. So I'd be so good at a roast.
So good.
The order gets set by Georges. So Georges wins the mini challenge, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And ultimately, there doesn't seem to be a lot of drama except for Nina being upset that she was put last. But then that pretty much fizzles out really quickly unless there's any sort of lasting drama that we're going to see later on. Essentially, Nina was like, I don't want to be last. I know I'm a comedy queen, but I'm like a nice comedy queen. And that's about it. So...
I also like that they made such a big deal out of it, even with the critiques. It's so hard to go last, but then like it had no payoff. It's not like she was in the top. They didn't even consider her for the top. I was just like, okay, like, so this had nothing. Okay, great.
Okay, great. Moving on.
I mean, I understand like her, reservations about going last because like when I really think about it, like I think like Nina West has always been associated with comedy in my mind, but like when she had the confessional saying like, I don't know why everyone thinks I'm like the best stand-up comedian. I'm really not. And I was like, you know what? I don't have anything to not support your argument. Like, yes, I've seen you tell a couple jokes, but it's not like, you're not like, Bob the drag queen or Bianca Del Rio out here. So yeah, I mean, I sort of got like her frustration about like her reputation sort of preceding her, even if it wasn't entirely accurate. But she pulled through. She did. So
yeah. Let's talk about each of the queens. Well, I guess first, does anyone want to say anything about Bob? Now that we know Bob was both here and in Untucked. The poetry, why the butch drag queen votes, very cute.
Yes. I was going to say originally that I feel like he was underutilized, but if he makes an appearance in Untucked, then I am willing to let that go. But I'm always happy to see more of the Bob the drag queen. I literally was like, oh my God, when he popped up on screen. I'm such a Bob fanboy. Like that Bob. Is like one, I always say to myself that I really don't tend to get very starstruck. Like the only people in my life that I really think that I would like lose my mind would probably be Lady Gaga, Beyonce, and maybe Bob the drag queen. Like I just love and adore him so much.
We got to get you to DragCon or something.
I know, right? Seriously. But yeah, I thought his opening poem as the poet laureate was very funny. Yes.
Is the bus still running?
Is the bus still running?
I also like that he pointed with like the bag. I was like, still got it on that runway. Good for it.
Still got it.
For our official 8 queens competing, Chanel is up first, and she is the one to open the show. She feels very confident opening the show, Beth, as she is good at hosting. That's like very much her gig. How do you feel Chanel did here?
I thought she did really well. And actually, she's definitely my top 3 of the night because I felt like the material was planned but executed super well, super clean. There wasn't stuttering. There wasn't tripping over any words. There was a lot of confidence and a lot of confidence in like the way that we'll talk about this with Angeria, but like when she did okay in season 14 with her roast, Angeria, that is, she was saying in the show that, she felt like the reason why she did okay, even though the material wasn't great, was because of her confidence in delivering the lines. And Chanel knows how to do that. She's just a seasoned professional. I'm going to be honest. As I watched this on the train yesterday, I can't even remember what most of the jokes were, but just the shaving the back one, which she already said in the like practice area in front of Brutally and Michelle. So, but I just remember feeling like it was really, really solid. And I was like, you know what? That's a really tough act to have to follow. And I feel bad that George has put herself second to her, which was a choice. But yeah, no, I thought she did incredible though. And the one thing though, actually, let's take it back for a second. My one big thing that I think the reason why I don't remember the jokes that well is because I spent the entire time going, why are you wearing orange? If it's like red, white, and blue. Like, why are you wearing this huge orange showgirl drag outfit? What is happening?
She's Miss Mandarin.
Miss Mandarin. I was just like, what the hell? So that was the one thing. If that had been red, I would have been here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Chanel did a pretty good job. I liked the zinger about Carson having to thank Michelle for his cheeks because they used to be her tits.
Oh yeah,
I love a good roast that zings 2 people. That's fun. I do feel like overall, like I feel like because she is so used to hosting, it comes so naturally to her that the critique that they actually gave to Nina, I felt was like more apt for Chanel, where it was like, yes, like you have a script, you have your jokes, you are set to go, but it's not as commanding as some of the other queens are. And we know that you have the personality. I just think that she is just so used to being so well rehearsed that it was a little, I feel like the jokes could have landed a bit more if she had like a bit of a punchier attitude behind them. So she was like, I know, it was kind of like, I know this next joke is going to be funny, so I'm going to rely on it being funny. And the next joke after that is going to be funny. So there we go. And zing. Like, it was just like, okay, well, give me a little bit more. So
it's very Shay and All-Star 7's roast, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And up next is Jinx on Soon. Like, just like, like 2 game show host.
Right.
I do think that's a really great way to describe it, Aman. I think Chanel benefited from going first in that she did a good job. And then you kind of forgot about her as you went through the other people's jokes, right?
Yeah.
But that being said, at the time, I was like, oh my God, this is really good. Like, this is really strong. And I think ultimately I landed on, it's cute. Like it was a good job. She had good jokes. She made me laugh, but it wasn't like it didn't. Oh my gosh! When I think of the roast, this is what I'm gonna think of. You know, for good or for bad, which to me is like a really serviceable job. And I think that there was a little bit of like, okay, we can cut a few words to get to the punchline because you really want to be delivering them in as little words as possible. And I think that that's maybe where the hosting thing took over a little bit. But genuinely for Chanel, like I'm such a big fan of her. So for her to come back after competing on 2 weirdo seasons, right? I think, and Bob says this in Untucked, sorry, spoiler alert, Amon, that it's like, you know, you were the guinea pig, right? Like you were the person that we tested all these things on from both the very first season and then as well as All Stars 1. So I'm like happy with how she did, maybe because I was also a little nervous for her having not done these, whereas all the other queens have at least more experience in this sort of competition style.
This is what I think is really difficult because, especially for Chanel, because I'm looking at like the fact she doesn't have any badges is wild because it's not like she's doing poor in the competition. Correct. I always think she's in the top half of the performers. She's always in the top 4.
Yeah.
But it's just her playing catch up to what queens have already gone through. And so they have such an advantage. And I kind of wish if the judges, because I don't agree with the judging in this particular, like who the top 2 necessarily were in this particular challenge, I wish that they'd kind of throw her a bone because I don't think anybody would be mad if she won one of the challenges. And if she had won this week, I would have been like, you know what? I think there are people who are funnier, but you know what? She had a bigger challenge. She had to come out here and do this. And honestly, it's for charity, so I don't give a shit that much. It's just like, all right, great.
I mean, yeah, we're halfway done. And how many badges do we have? And also, if they pull the shenanigans like they did with the all winners, where like the last one, you get like 4 badges or whatever that weird thing was. Or,
drag mask.
I feel like that's probably going to happen for her.
Yeah. But I think that's a great point. And I think that the only week where Chanel, I feel like, has not done well would have been the makeover challenge because I felt like those outfits just were not cohesive at all whatsoever. Again, they don't look the same, but that was a bit of a disaster. Other than that, I do think that she's done very well and hasn't had like a flop week like some of the other queens have had, except for makeover. All right, let's talk about Georges. So Georges decides to take Mama Ru's feedback and become this butch character, your local neighborhood thug. I think Aman was the official description. And I think Ru was dying. I was nervous for Ru on this one.
See, I was going back and forth in my head. I was like, should she have really butched it up and that's the comedy and that it's butch, or do what she just did and then just like appear butch but then be like, oh my god, like, hello, it's Georges. Like, I'm like, I go back and forth with it. I'm like, I kind of wanted to see her try to be more butch in like energy and like characterization, more so than just the look, because I feel like that to me is the funniness. And then like every so often you can break the character and go into like and be Georges. But like just being like appearing butch but still being Georges to me wasn't, I feel like to me that's not what Ru asked for. But then Ru was laughing his head off, so I was like, okay, well then I guess this works. Like, fine. I mean, I think as far as the jokes that she told, you know, she had a few good ones in there about Carson's gaping hole and Nina's broad shoulders, and I thought it was fine. I just don't know if I necessarily vibed with the characterization as much as Ru did.
I think I vibed with it much more than you, Aman, because I actually interpreted what Ru said as exactly what she did, which was because like Ru goes into this whole thing about like if you were like dressed butch, but then you had like that thing that you do with your hands and such. So it became very clear that like he was just basically like, pretend that you're butch, but then you're also like, hey, like at the same time. Now I agree with you that I think it would have been funnier, and I don't mean this as in like I don't think that she's capable of this, but I don't know how capable she would have been to think about this at this point in the competition as something that she's trying to try out and experiment with. I think it would have been funnier if she just lowered her voice, acted butch for the first bit, and then be like, I mean, and then like try to shake it off is like totally trying to be a mask or something. That I definitely think would have landed and been much funnier. But I still think she was one of the best performances. I thought that her drag or her routine was her routine was really also. I'm just gonna put out there, she was really hot with that facial hair that she drew on. I actually was like, girl, okay. Or I mean, guy. Okay. No, but it was really, I thought that she did a really great job. I thought that she just had some, like, I literally was like, well, this knocks Chanel out, because I literally thought that because she had a character, because she listened to Rue, because Rue was really laughing, and which made me really laugh. I just kind of sat back and I was like, well, as solid as a job that Chanel did, I think Georges beats her in this situation.
Georges definitely beats her for sure.
And that was what made me not turn on Chanel, but like sort of realize the difference between the two, was also seeing the audience and Rue's reaction to it. So being in the room, like clearly there was some energy or something that Georges was just giving that was like very funny. I think for me overall, the best like grouping of jokes, I love the ones about Angeria. Angeria is so country. How country is she? You know, that's such a like
she douches with
formula.
Sweet tea and eats ass with a side of mustard greens. Yeah, that was
so good.
Yeah, that was good. And you know, I think that like that's a way to take, because obviously within roasts it can be very formulaic in terms of the way that you set up jokes, deliver punchline, you know, do the misdirection thing. And this is one that, you know, we've seen before, but I think the way that it's tailored, it's very unique. It's specific to, you know, to obviously to Angeria and those reads. So I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Plastique next. So Plastique, that's right, exactly. Thank you. She also goes with a bit of a character, and a sort of anime character, and
Sailor
is
Moon.
One of the
again. She's been giving me so much Sailor Moon this season, and I love her for it. I love it.
Well, did you love
she's
her
actually
rose?
my like on she's actually the calendar. Pride Month is Sailor Moon.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Are there the other
scouts? Yes.
On the other months?
For the different months?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna like go in order of like the way that she like Sailor Moon meets all of the other Sailor Senshi. So I thought that it would have been like, because she was also January, so I thought that they would just like continue down the line, the roster. And then when that little gay ass picture showed up for June, I was like, yeah. Like, I was so
they knew their audience. They knew it.
They literally printed this. And they said, Aman's gonna gag when he sees this.
I was totally not expecting it. I was like, they're gonna go down the line. Maybe she'll be December, like one last time. But no, like they gagged me. I got gagged by a calendar 17 days ago. But yeah, no,
I thought what growing up is like, by the way. You can start to get gagged by calendars. Get your aunt that cat calendar she's been looking at. She'll love it.
I thought that Plastique did a good job. She said that she wanted to employ a character because she was like, well, I did a character last week. I felt like I was really free in that. I felt like I could actually like feel the jokes that I was meant to tell. And I'm not really sure what the character was. Like, I guess she's supposed to be a smoking Sailor Moon at a drag convention. I don't know, but it
yeah.
At an
I was like, why'd you have a
convention.
cigarette?
Like, I was like, okay.
You know why? It's because you go to any like con where people are cosplaying and like half of them smoke, so they're just all outside the con is like, well, I guess Master Chief and Ash from Pokemon are having a kiki as they smoke cigarettes, and like and now here comes Link and what's up? It's just like you have all these people who just do shit like that.
Well, I thought that she had I thought what like she had going for her, and I don't know if it's like editing. I think that a lot of her jokes were like this person is so this, they're this, and they were just like quick, sweet, like straight to the point. Whereas I feel like others had like a bit more of a setup, and then the ones where she did have the setup were like towards the end with the Michelle joke and the RuPaul joke. So I felt like it was, I'm gonna hit everybody real quick, and I'm gonna give you like two good finishers. And I felt like that was, quantity, not quantity over quality. It was like qualitative quantity in terms of Plastique. So yeah, she did a pretty good job.
She was concise, and believe it or not, listeners at home, this is what I teach to students all the time is, I know it sounds real weird. Beth Dixon is the one that's trying to make people learn how to talk and present their materials in a concise fashion, but providing enough context that people would need, and then just going to the simple thing and then move on. And I felt like she had some of the most like biting one-liners too, which were really good. And the way I cackled on that train yesterday when she had the joke about Leah Remini being stuck up Michelle Visage's vagina was amazing.
That was crazy.
I loved it so much. It was so funny.
I think if I had to pick one from each category, like of the shorter versus the quick jokes, the Leah Remini one was definitely for the more explanation joke. That was hilarious. And then the one about Gottmik that was, she puts the T in LGBT trash. That was very cute, very quick, right? Like we love that. So I thought that was really fun. So I think my question then goes to Beth, is Plastique the one that you have not put in the top 2? Because I know you said that you didn't agree with the judging this week.
No, I actually would have put Plastique in the top 2. I actually think I would have put Plastique and Georges in the top 2 myself. But I was actually really shocked that Angeria was in the top 2. But we can get to that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Roxy first. We're going in order. Roxy, I don't know why. Like, I'm a loud bitch. I am a loud. I do not know the sound of my own voice. I will be in the middle of like a restaurant and people will be like, shh, like you're yelling. Shut up. But Roxy was loud. I don't know why. I feel like her delivery was so loud. Like the jokes were good. They were solid, but I felt like she was yelling them at me. And again, as someone who yells all the time. But that being said, I do think she did a really, really great job. She had probably my favorite overall joke that I mentioned at the top of the show, the one about it's hard to remember our names. I'm the wig reveal one. Like that was so
that made me cackle too.
Amazing.
I mean, she gets redemption points for me because this is the first time she's done a roast / stand-up comedy challenge that I feel like she came out and did an incredible job from start to finish. I didn't get any sense of stumbling or weakness in her performance. I thought it was really strong. And I honestly do think she probably this whole season has had the mindset, because no one's going home, that she can just go out there and just leave it all on the stage. And this was a situation where I felt like she didn't have to overthink and she could just do it. And it do take some balls to go after RuPaul like that, even if they are tucked up inside. My goodness. And woohoo! Because remember the last time someone went after RuPaul that bad, and that did not work out for them, Utica. So
yeah.
Which I still feel like that was a good read from Utica.
It sure was.
Oh yeah.
Want to know why Utica hasn't been invited back? No further than that one particular. I'm sure she will at some point.
I think it like strayed so close to the fire. It was like, if you're like a general Drag Race fan, you might not know the rumor that she's not dressed underneath there. So I feel like it like breaks the fourth wall that's supposed to be unbreakable. But yeah, whatever.
So
Ru had it coming,
even
whatever.
the remembering the names thing too. Like, I mean, obviously to me, the big one is Jinx, right? At the
what's this one? What's your name? Jinx.
Yeah.
And Monet's like, I won.
I didn't remember her name.
But the best to me, and I say this all the time, the best is the fact that, Michelle, you've been my best friend for 20 blah 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 years. What are your kids' names again? And I just like, this is your best friend. You don't know her kids' names. Her kids are in their 20s.
Yeah, kids are not the friends though. She remembers Michelle's name, I think.
I think she probably. Yeah.
It's on the cue cards at the beginning of every episode. But yeah, no, look, I agree. I think that Roxy definitely got a redemption here. And we even get the recap of how bad she did in the other ones, right? So to so know that this is not your strength and to come in and execute, I think she did a really great job. Solid middle of the pack for me.
I always cringe at her tripping over
the Tasha salad one.
The Tasha, where she's like at the glory hole, and I'm like,
like
no.
more addicted the shelf and then the glory the shelf and the glory hole.
It's so true though. It's so awkward.
So Roxy, thank God you didn't have a moment like that this time.
Yeah, proud of you.
This time you actually did make it clear. You were Roxy Andrews, and you did make it clear.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Vanjie. So Vanjie is definitely an interesting start, Aman. Where like I wasn't 100% sure. She was like, "What was it? I am gonna use the N word. I'm not.
I'm just gonna be like, I will be using the N word."
Uh-oh.
And everybody's like, yeah, I don't think that the payoff. It's weird because I don't think that the payoff landed the way that it was supposed to. Like, I feel like because the N word is so controversial, right? Yeah. So it's like the minute you say something like that, you immediately disarm everybody, and so it's like you're like everyone's like, okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to laugh yet. And then when it's something like nobody's, you're like, oh my God. So it's like,
I was hoping Bob the drag queen was backstage and go, "You better not," or something like that, just from like the wings.
Right.
No,
but it is. It's like it's more relief than anything else. You're just like, oh, okay.
And so it's like, do you want her to say something that's like really, really close to it, or is that also controversial? So it's like, yeah, I don't like. I thought it was funny in the sense that like everyone's reaction was funny more as opposed to like what she actually said. So, but I feel like that's sort of like what Vanjie is. Like her humor is so, it's not like super like, like it's cerebral or anything. Not to say that Vanjie's dumb. She's not. It's just, it's all about her personality and like what she says. Like you just never know what's going to come out of her mouth. And I don't think that she did either half the time. So yeah, that was that definitely was that made me laugh.
I thought you said I'm not saying that she's a dom. Oh. And I was like, and then I realized you said dumb. And I was like, okay, that makes more sense. Because I'm not saying she's a dom. And I was like, where the hell that comes from?
I'm not saying she's dumb. I'm just saying, like, we know how Vanjie is. I thought that a lot of her jokes, I mean, she probably had some of the more less crafted jokes. It was more so like more just bite, just more cutting. But again, because it's Vanjie, even if it doesn't have like a lot of like tact to it, it's funny because it's Vanjie. So I mean her joke about like Roxy about up down, like I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with
you? Like, you're like, just like your weight. And I was like,
and then they're like, oh, she's like, it's the roast.
Like, her hair was a character. Like that's a paid actor and deserved compensation.
Oh, yeah, so I actually laughed a lot at Vanjie's. I knew she was not going to win, but I probably laughed the hardest at Vanjie.
They still talked about her over the likes of like Nina and such, and like the judging. So clearly, it was funny.
She's a mess. She's a fucking mess.
I think she also did the comedy voice thing, right? That she does when she's putting on the like comedy characters. So that was also very funny. The joke I really like from hers also was about Georges that after she gives head, she gets birthed or whatever.
Yeah, that was probably the strongest joke. Yeah,
that was. I've gone through a journey with this joke. I stopped watching that episode yesterday when it finished, and I went, that's the joke I'm not going to forget. And then I have fully forgotten that joke until you just mentioned it. And now I'm back to, how could I ever forget? That's the best joke of the night.
It's so good.
Oh, it was so good.
So good. Next up is Angeria. She ends up being in the top 2, ultimately the winner this week after taking home the lip sync. And yeah, I thought it was solid. I thought it was good, but I am inclined to go with Beth here and maybe put Georges, or I don't know. I actually really liked Roxy just for like the redemption of it all.
Yeah.
But not that Angie did a bad job or anything, Aman. I think she did it was definitely a solid performance and had like really strong jokes.
Yeah, she had really strong jokes. I do agree with the judges that I feel like she really kind of just owned it. She just walked out on the stage and was like, all right, let's get this motherfucking shit over with. It was like the irreverence of it all that I think is always like attractive to RuPaul. And the jokes being tailored specifically to RuPaul's sensibilities. I feel like that's probably what sort of like put her over the edge. I don't know if every joke that she told landed for me. I did really enjoy the Chicago joke. I wish that she would have slowed that one down a little bit. Like the name on everybody's lips is gonna be Jinx. Like that would have been a lot funnier than what she did. But I mean, I think that she did a pretty good job, and was just she was just out here. And I think that was probably like what put her over the edge.
I really felt like after she did Jinx, I thought she was then going to turn to RuPaul and go, you know, that queen who won the second time. And she cut the ribbon at DragCon. You remember her? That's Jinx. That's what we're talking about. It's Jinx. Because, you know, at that point, somebody's already gone in and you might as well. Roxy's already brought it up. You might as well play off of it because I think that'd be funny. Yeah, no, I felt like all of her jokes were solid. She gave the delivery I expected. But I just didn't laugh as much as I laughed at other people's, or I wasn't just like, she didn't do anything unexpected, if that's, I guess, a factor in this.
No, I don't think so. I agree. I think ultimately, I think it's, like I said, I think it's because RuPaul's always telling the girls, like, don't take it too seriously. Don't take it too seriously. And I think that that's probably was like, what was the most attractive thing about the performance for him. So.
Do you guys think that they put Angeria in the top 2 to have her hopefully cut Roxy for the drama?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a big possibility.
For sure.
Especially because, I mean,
Roxy didn't cut her last week. They wanted it to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So. The producers went, something we can do to manipulate everything. Everybody did so well this week. Roxy, you're going to go if that gets the ruby snippers.
The producers twirling their mustache in the darkness, in the shadows.
Yeah, exactly. So, tried to do the evil laugh, myself laugh.
It's okay. I literally laughed about the Georges being burped joke for like way too long after we talked about it.
Vanjie was trifling for that.
Love it. It's so unique too. When have I ever heard that before? It's great. Speaking of things that I have heard before, we need to talk about Gottmik. So, you know, Gottmik gives, so obviously, all right, let me run you through all of my thoughts. So first of all, my impression, Gottmik does the run. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's fine. It's funny. Delivery felt a little weird for sure. Maybe not the best from Gottmik. And then the internet sleuths, I love you all very much, put together video compilations of essentially Gottmik's entire roast side by side with Nikki Glazer's own roast content from several different roasts. And the jokes are pretty much verbatim, just swap in a different name. I know. We're not going to play the videos here due to copyright issues, but I saw it on TikTok. I saw it on YouTube.
Unlike Gottmik, we do care about copyright.
Exactly. We do not want to plagiarize. You can check on YouTube. Just Google it. It will be there. I saw it on several different social medias. So, and it's bad, people. This is bad. It just feels like outright plagiarism. And obviously, we've been through this so much, right? It's like, oh, they don't write their own jokes. They get ghostwriters, blah, blah, blah. And I think that that's one thing when you're like, you pay a designer for their work. You pay a comedian to ghostwrite jokes for you. And this was just very, very blatant plagiarism. And I think that it sort of crossed the line into a little bit of icky territory. Gottmik defended her behavior on Twitter. Bob the drag queen, Bianca Del Rio replied, "Okay, thumbs up." She's so shady. So there's definitely some drama regarding Gottmik and, ultimately what she did on the roast.
See, you know what? Like it's so funny because I recently, before the episode came out, like sometime like last week or like a week and a half ago, I was watching a bit of like a Nikki Glaser content because I think she just roasted someone recently. I forget who it was. It's like on Netflix.
Yes, there was the one that just came out.
It just came out. I can't remember the celebrity of who it was.
She did a really great job. Okay.
Yeah, she always does. So I was like, I watched a bit of that and I was like, oh, let me go back and watch some of her old stuff.
Sorry,
Tom Brady.
Was gonna bother me.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
Sports ball.
I remember listening to some of the jokes and I was like, oh, that reminds me of something, because literally I had just watched a full compilation of Nikki Glaser content. So yeah, but I didn't know that it was like outright like just like lifting jokes. So that's a little, I mean, look, like certain, like for a roast, there are going to be certain jokes that are recycled. That's fine as long as you are able to tailor it in a way that is, specific to that person and there's like some thought put into it. But if you're literally just like doing like a Mad Lib of someone else's like set, that's like, ugh, that's a little messy. So maybe, I mean, that could be reason as to why she didn't win. I mean, I kind of also do agree that like her delivery it did seem a little less, like a little bit more subdued. Maybe the fact that she knew that she couldn't get a badge this week sort of like played into that. Who knows? But yeah, I do remember like being like, oh, okay, that was cute from Gottmik. Fine, whatever, sure. But I also don't feel like the roast performance that she did in her original season was as amazing as RuPaul seems to have.
Thank you.
Remembered it either. So
I know she won it, but I also was like, I so disagreed about both her. Didn't her and Candy both win the roast in season 13?
Yes,
because that's where Candy went. She died.
She died.
That's what I always think of. But I just remember being like, I don't know. I think there was a low competition in that season for doing great. Yeah. But I don't know. I just think that she is someone who is so good at like Snatch Game and doing like also like kind of like a very California aesthetic and being really fashion forward and such. But when she acts, it's very, honestly, maybe this is just my own like little lens that I always have her through this kind of Paris Hilton-esque vocal fry lens, and that tends to be her comedy style. But I don't know. The energy was very off to me. I actually was like, is she okay? And then she's so off during Untucked. It made me feel like
she wasn't feeling it today.
She but it also makes me wonder, Nikki Glaser has been a guest how many times on Drag Race? Did people catch this when she did it? And did she get a talking to from production? I don't know. Like it just seems so weird that all of a sudden it's just like as soon as the challenge is over and they go into Untucked, she's just like not having anything. Yeah. And she didn't get incredibly negative critiques. And she literally got blocked last week and acted, or like for this week, but has been acting really fine up until that moment. She acted fine in the workroom before that, right? So I don't know. Could be that you're just in your own feels. God knows. If I ever think I don't do a great job, you should leave the room because I'm just going to suck all the energy out of it. So I guess I can
literally word for word. Jewel, I don't want to badmouth you since God already did. Glaser said, girl, I'm not going to stand up here and badmouth you because clearly God already has.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, they said did and has. Those are two
so it's really different
words.
Yeah. Well, and also,
I want to thank you so much for fighting the war against terrorism and subtlety. And Gottmik says you are consistently fighting the war against homophobia and subtlety. Oh my God, no!
Yeah, so they changed it from terrorism to homophobia. So it's a brand new joke. That's what I'm saying, Aman. Like it's bad. It's bad. It's like word for word.
Her resume is insane. Glaser said, if you look at it, it's just like model, actor, singer. You named it. She's fucked it. Gottmik says, you guys, if you didn't know her, her resume is insane. Influencer, dancer, actor, you name it. She's fucked it.
Time out. Are those are all from the new one that came out?
No, some of the, I guess these are just like from like
from previous
a collection.
Okay, because all
some
of
them
a
are
sudden
from
I
the
did
roast
have a
of Bruce
moment.
Willis. One of them was Rob Lowe. One of them was Jewel, who I think was a guest at. She was a guest at the one for Bruce Willis's. Yeah.
The reason why I was going to say that is if it was a new one, then maybe Nikki stole comics because it would have been filmed last year or whatever. But no, that makes much more sense.
No.
I was like, I don't know if Nikki's going, where should I go for comedy roast feeling?
But
let me go to unaired footage of Gottmik. Show me everything, RuPaul. Could you imagine?
Oh god. Yeah, it's bad, and it's essentially every joke that we saw. So.
There was also, it wasn't Gottmik, but there was somebody, and I feel like it was Georges or Plastique. Somebody was making the like broad shoulder, Broadway joke, which was absolutely used against Alexis Michelle in season 9. So I was just like, okay, well, we've heard that on Drag Race. So could we like make it different or something?
Well, I think that's where the whole discussion comes from, right? Is like, where's the line and what is plagiarism and what is, using the same joke format or like using the same, like even within this roast, we saw 2 broad shoulder jokes, right, about Nina. But that doesn't necessarily mean that those are the same thing, right? Because they're going to be a slightly different punchline delivered in a slightly different way. This is literally verbatim, word for word, with maybe a word or 2 changed. So that to me,
her response isn't great. She's like, wait, do you guys think everyone wrote their own jokes? Melting face emoji, laughing emoji. Nikki is my queen, so reworking a few of her jokes was a dove for me. I mean, sure, like using Nikki as inspiration, but when it's literally lifting the same words, then it's like, okay, what are we doing here?
Exactly. Yeah, like, define reworking.
Imagine if somebody had come down the runway in your exact same outfit, but it was like a slightly different shade of that same color. And then they're like, no, it's different because I changed the shade. And you're like,
well, that's the thing. Like, okay, if Gottmik had gotten, because when she walked the runway, the purple thing, what was that? What designer was that from? Whatever.
I don't remember. I'm not good with designers. I'm sorry, guys.
Sure. So let's say she walks down the runway and tries to claim that as hers. You know what I mean? Like it would have been funny if I saw somewhere on Reddit, someone was like, if she had ended the set with, if you loved my set tonight, I'm Gottmik. If you hated it, I'm Nikki Glazer. So then at least like you're giving the credit to the person you stole all your jokes from. So
that would have been funny actually.
So that's the controversy now, let's wrap things up with Nina. Beth, what was your impression with Nina on this one?
Solid.
Yeah.
There were some jokes.
Yeah.
I felt like she delivered some of them better with Ruta and Michelle. The thing is I felt like she was harsher when she was doing it in practice. And then she like softened her delivery when she was doing it on stage. And I was like, you should have done it the other way. Practice it soft and then give it a nice hard smack when you're, I don't know what I'm tying.
Beth just wants it hard. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm so tired.
I remember thinking the same thing. It did feel a little like, because she, she was one of the people that asked during the workroom, like, is anyone going to have a character? Like, how are you going to present your jokes? And so she decided, like, I'm not really, I'm the nice queen, so I don't really, I'm not an insult comic. I might, say a few jokes every now and then. So I kind of liked the fact that she came out in all red, sort of trying to be like the devil that lives inside of her. But it did still sort of feel a little subdued, only because I felt like she was trying to be like, oh, did I say that? Like, but she didn't go far enough with that. Like, if you had like showed me more of a struggle of like, I don't want to say it, and like give me a little bit more physical comedy in that, then I would have been like, oh, this is a hit out of the park. But it did sort of just feel a little too rehearsed in some ways. So I think the jokes were good. I just don't know if the execution was always like the best. So, but definitely on the higher end for me. I think she did a good job.
Yeah, I liked for her, some of the specific jokes I liked were the one about, well, it's a charity season, which explains why Georges is here. But then also she has a body that won't quit and a brain that won't start.
That was a good one.
That made me laugh.
She's got 2 brain cells and they're fighting for third place.
Don't worry, you'll catch. If you don't get it now, you'll get it in a few minutes, Georges. Yeah,
Yeah.
That was so good.
The other line I liked was about Plastique had retouched her X-rays. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, again, she had very solid jokes, but I also like.
Yeah.
When you're like the ones against Georges were actually proper like roast jokes. But I even felt like she delivered them like it was just like a normal stand-up routine rather than like really delivering it with some bite. And I think that if she had, and I know it's hard for her to do that. And then we see her in Untucked have this like very like political, like, guys, we need to be like support. Like I feel like if we actually had put this as like a political campaign, go roast your other, like, your rival candidates or something, her energy would have been perfect because she does come across as somebody who's trying to be like politically correct and make jokes. And I think that would have enhanced the comedy of her performance. And I call this on production for not properly framing this as a good political roast.
If she had delivered her jokes with the energy and flavoring of Vanjie, which is actually kind of funny because Nina West does a really good Vanjie impression.
True.
It would have been like, I feel like that would have like really elevated the entire set. But
oh my God. That would have been amazing if actually she had just tried to do an imitation of every person when she was like roasting them or whatever.
Or like, I'm the nice queen, so I wanted to embody someone else to deliver the roast.
Yeah.
And then you do your Fat Albert voice, right? Like that's I'm Angie. Yeah. That would have been amazing. I would have loved that. I felt that way about Nina, to be honest, like so often in the season where I feel like it's almost there. Like, and I felt like this way in her original season too, was like she can get so close, but there's just something that doesn't quite work to like pull it all together and make it super, super solid. And I think that this was just another example that like the joke's really solid. Like overall it was really good, but something just doesn't like work to like tie it all together.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think she lacks just that little bit of confidence in herself. I think that she knows already in her head what she's going to get for critiques and then has a self-fulfilling prophecy of it. That's what I get from her.
Gotta get rid of that inner
psychoanalyze. Yes. I'm now going to psychoanalyze
saboteur.
Everything.
I'm sure you're right.
Listen, she has the same birthday as me, so we have the same sun and moon sign. Obviously. I know exactly like where she's at.
Let's talk about the runways. We have Atomic Blonde for our category. We'll go quick. Toot, boot, what you like, what you didn't like. First up is Chanel. Again, I'm going to start makeup, Beat for the Gods. Amazing. This is a toot for me. I like this.
This is a toot, and I felt like this should have solidified her in the top 3, in my opinion. Because I think other people tried to do similar outfits, but I don't think they were as successful as she was. The idea of having Marilyn Monroe also being in the apocalyptic like world was like so genius to me. I loved it.
Yeah, I think this is a toot for me. I love just how polished she is from the neck up and how rugged and savage it is downwards. So yeah, I think this is a toot for sure.
But also like so tailored. I think that's so cool. Where she was like, just because we're in fur and leather doesn't mean it can't be tailored in like sickening hunty. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next up is Georges. Looking like a pin cushion stuck in with all the little needles. It's cute. I think it's fun. I definitely the emphasis on the blonde. Like that's I think what I like the most about this look. It's a toot for me. The big old blonde mohawk.
Yeah, it's Atomic Blonde Barbie. I'm into it. It's a toot for me.
Oh, for sure. This is a massive toot for me. I think that she gets points for looking so different from other people and having it still be super effective.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why I was like, oh, maybe she'll end up in the top because I thought this
same
was so solid. Plastique Tiara, toot for me. I think absolutely gorgeous. I love this. I don't know the reference. She said that there is one, but I'm obsessed.
I'm not sure about the reference either, but it didn't really matter to me. It just aesthetically, it was great. I'm not really sure why Michelle felt the need to preface her critique with saying how much she hates white makeup and white this and white that. When I'm like, girl, it's Atomic Blonde. It's going to be that way. So then you hate the category then.
Category is Michelle hates it. Actually, that'd be a really funny category, and it could be just people wearing white makeup, like eyelashes and such, and like just green outfits.
Yes.
I think that she said that this was some kind of like combination of references of like manga and anime in general, right? I don't know if she said specific ones, but regardless, I love this idea of like a machine car exhaust thing with a bunny and also a blonde. Like, it's cool and it looks good.
Yeah, exactly. It's just weird. It's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Next up is Roxy. So, Beth, is this one that didn't execute as well as Chanel's?
Yeah. But you know what I got laughing about? I don't know if anybody remembers this or not, but when season 7 aired of Drag Race, Katya was releasing videos of her own like blog about what happened, what she remembered from filming it and everything from that episode. And she, for like the first season of and like all this stuff, had like some kind of animal hat that she'd always wore. And I thought that's what it was. I thought Roxy literally borrowed Katya's like stuffed animal thing. And I was like, oh my God. And then I realized it wasn't. But yeah, this was like, it doesn't even look like it's tailored in any way.
A boot.
It's boot.
It's a boot for me. I just feel like it's like you had this lying around and then you tried to make it work, which again, go off, like get your bag, take your money, but it just for me doesn't really do it.
Especially I like the Anitra reference in the makeup.
Oh yeah, with the
scar,
the line. Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, it's fine.
Boot.
Boot. Okay, Vanjie is up next. I kind of don't know what to make of this. It's not typical Vanjie, and I think I like it.
I like
it's not typical Vanjie, and like I do like it, but I'm also kind of like, is it Atomic Blonde outside of the wig? And I don't know, because like when I think of Atomic Blonde, obviously you're thinking of like Charlize Theron, you're thinking of Mad Max, you're thinking of like you know, like blonde bad bitch fucking fighter ass gonna fuck you up bitch, like, and this to me is like very fashionable and she looks amazing. I don't know if it's Atomic Blonde for me though.
No, I'm with you on that.
It's a boot on like execution of category, but it's a I feel like
it's a two for a look.
For a look. Yeah, I agree. She looks like coral, right? Like if there's like an under the water sort of themed, like I could see that.
She looks like Pink on an Atlantis tour.
She needs to be like flying.
I know she said Rihanna, but I'm sorry, she looks like Pink.
Yeah. The hair also I think is giving like early Pink.
Yeah. 2003.
Okay. All right. Angeria is up next. I don't like it.
Boo.
I don't know why. I just don't like it. No, no one can tell me otherwise.
No, I'm with you. Well, like the bodice leather part doesn't fit. I don't I like the concept, but I don't like the execution. I like the concept of the hair. I don't like the execution. It actually looks like she's an alien. It doesn't look like she's a crown.
I thought she was Poseidon. It looks like Poseidon's like crown.
But like with seagrass, like ew. Like I don't know.
It's the apocalypse, Beth.
That shit will be dead.
That
shit provides most of like the oxygen or something.
What's going on? It's kind of reminiscent to Roxy's. It's sort of given like she looks like she's like in Lord of the Rings or something, like an elf or like a I don't know. Like she looks like she's like hiding amongst the trees. Like I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not Atomic Blonde for me. No.
would love if this is what Legolas looked like. And Legolas comes out there like, bitch, that's a drag queen.
She's like a tree nymph. She's like if an elf and what are the tree creatures called? An ent. She's like an elf and an ent fucking or something.
Yes.
But also, no, I'm just kidding. But also like a little bit of like an Ewok from Star Wars, but
that too.
not at all. But
yeah,
any wooded creature, bitch, you name it, she's fucked it.
Not that.
That's so great.
But
just cite your sources, Aman.
My point is, I felt like based off of both the performance and especially this runway, how the hell was she in the top 2? They even said they didn't like her look, and then they put her in the top 2.
I know. Yes, but Beth, production needed this to happen so she could block Roxy for drama.
Snip, snip, bitch.
Snip, snip, bitch. Gottmik is up next. I really liked this look from Gottmik quite a bit. This is a toot for me. I think between this and the roast, I like this better. Yep.
I agree. Definitely a toot. I do love like the little Kim reference. I don't know if that's what she was going for, but that's like where my head went. And I think one of the judges made the same joke as well. I love the like she's made out of like metal underneath like illusion. That to me is very just like it's. I want to see a movie starring this character, whoever she is. So yeah, definitely a toot. Definitely a toot.
And yeah, definitely a toot for me too. And I love that what Michelle said about this is a trans man who had top surgery and then for her drag put like a breast back on, but made it like future. So like anything that Gottmik does is going to inherently be more powerful of a message. I love that Michelle said that and that they put that on national television. I also think one of the details that I am choosing to believe this was on purpose was the fact that she made it's her right eye, or looking at it, left eye, look like it's like not open as much as the other one. I think she literally put the eyelash at an angle so it looks like normally it would look like just like a wonky eyelash, but I think that's intentional for this look, like the robot who's been kind of like messed with a little too much or whatever.
Yeah, I think she might have a contact in that eye as well.
I think she does too. But it was just interesting because when she was upset and untucked, I was like, her eyes are fucked up. And then I was like, oh no, it's the makeup. Oh, why'd she do it like that? Oh, she did it like that. I had a whole journey.
Yeah. Well, she's such a perfectionist when it comes to her makeup. It's always like so done that I imagine that it has to be on purpose.
That's why I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. And I think it's a cool choice.
Yeah. I agree. Nina is up.
Sorry. I actually think this is one of her better looks. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's very literal with the atomic blonde, with the nuclear, like the bomb, literally bomb, and right. That's what it's supposed to be with the what's it called, mushroom cloud.
But you know what? How it doesn't help is that she says that she looks like Super Mario or something, and
that's
I'm like,
what took me, my brain didn't even allow me to even think about like an atomic bomb, because the minute that she said Super Mario, I was just like, oh, so she's like one of the what do you call that? Like whatever they're called. I'm not a Nintendo bitch, so I don't know. The bitches with the mushroom shit on their head.
No, I thought she at the very least was going to go like the Rosie from the Jetsons route or something like that. It'd be like, I'm giving Jetsons 1950s-esque thing, but I'm also giving an actual atomic bomb. But I think this is one of her better outfits.
My God.
I just think that the way she described it was so bad. I'm trying to defend you, girl, week after week, and I have to give you a boost because you can't even describe your outfit.
I think her makeup looks great.
Yeah, it does.
The thing is, I must have zoned out during her explanation because I was like, okay, she's a bomb, got it. And then I didn't listen.
I can't wait for us to see a Super Mario inspired outfit next week and find out the editors fucked it up.
I'd love that. Like played the wrong audio.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. I was like, her voiceover had nothing to do with this outfit. Like, I swear.
Yeah.
See, I feel like the minute that she walks around the corner, my brain immediately went to like one of the things come to life in Beauty and the Beast. I wasn't sure what exactly I was seeing. But
oh yeah, like a cup, like she's an upside down cup.
Yeah, like I was getting Beauty and the Beast on Broadway.
I was also getting a little. I haven't watched the show, but on Doctor Who, isn't there like the dialects or something, whatever they're called? Like I was getting my very limited knowledge of that, and I'm sure it looks nothing like what I'm thinking about, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
girl.
Yeah. Anyway,
boo.
Sorry, Nina.
I'll give it a moot. It's sort of like a meh, but not quite a boot.
Yeah. Okay, like a middle of the road.
Right, only because I'm like, okay, now that I understand that it's like an atomic bomb, I'm like, okay.
It's moo. It's like a cow's opinion. It doesn't really matter.
So it doesn't really matter. Let's talk about the lip sync. Angeria and Plastique are our top two. We get Be My Lover, La Bouche, and I just sort of stopped paying attention to anything that was happening after Plastique just was like,
take it away, Angeria. Meanwhile, I'm going, I must confess. Girl, yes, I want to be your lover. Take a chance. I was sitting back and I was like, this is my jam. I've listened to the Night of the Roxbury like soundtrack too much in my life. And that song is on there. And I was like all ready to go. And then I saw Plastique just for the second week in a row not be able to know a damn word to the song. And I can't deal with that.
Yeah, at the first time that it happens, it was like, okay, fine, whatever. The second time, especially in a row that it happens, I'm like, bitch, do you want to win money for your charity? What are you doing?
Is it like, do you think it's okay, so then obviously my conspiracy brain starts going and I'm like, is she doing this on purpose? Like, is she doing this because she doesn't want to have to cut anybody? So then that way she can't get like, she's playing the long game, maybe she's not going to win money for her charity throughout the competition, but at the end she'll have those badges because she'll never be cut. I don't know.
I mean, that could definitely be a possibility. It's a little, I don't know. I mean, I'm not about to sit here and like, crucify these queens, but like, I'm like,
I will.
A piece of me is like, that is a little unsavory on a charity season. I was like, bitch, just win the money and then snip a hoe. Like,
yeah.
Like, or else what are you there for? Like, if your charity doesn't win shit, like, what are we doing?
It does feel weirdly disrespectful.
Can I be shady for a second?
Yes, please.
I have seen quite a bit of her TikToks, and I will argue with the 4 words that she does lip sync on that. She often doesn't do a good job. I just don't think she's a good lip syncer. I think she's a good dancer, and I think she commands attention really well. But I think that something she probably struggles with is knowing words. Like, she'll do those incredible like transition, and then like she'll only have to say like, "You're my baby," and like the mouth will be off, and I'll be like, you can do a seamless transition, but you can't mouth 4 words. Like, what are we doing here, girl? And I say that as someone who has nowhere near the amount of stress or platform that she has, so just putting it out there, or talent. But I just think I just don't think she's a good lip syncer.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, there's a reason why she hasn't won a lip sync yet this season, so here we are.
Her other season.
Yep, at all. Okay.
Well, she won in the 6-way lip sync, if that you can call that winning.
Yeah.
I think you call that not losing. That's what that was. There was no such thing as a winner.
Because Honey Davenport jumping off that stage was the atomic
honey
of that.
Oh, what a disaster that
was.
Bring
back Honey Davenport. They're cute.
Agreed. Angeria wins. Angeria blocks Roxy. Surprise, surprise. Wow. And I'm very excited to see the fallout next week.
Yeah. It's going to be
great. I mean, it's I can definitely understand why Roxy's going to feel some type of way, because it's like, well, bitch, I spared you last week because I wanted to like call the truth, and then you reignited it. But I think, strategically, Angeria has a good excuse in that, like, well, girl, you have a lot of badges. So if it's a competition, I can't just like roll over. So definitely, definitely interested in how this goes next week.
And it's interesting too, because in Untucked, Roxy goes, I figured that if anybody else won, they were going to block me because I have the most badges. And I just figured like that would be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't say you're going to feel a certain type of way in this competition with certain things of blocking, and then turn around and not expect me to feel a certain type of way when this happens to me. So, and I think she's right.
What would have happened if, because there was a point in time with for the mini challenge, which was the straw poll, right? They got a chance to win a badge.
A badge.
And Gottmik was in the lead for quite some time. It's like, what would have happened if Gottmik won the challenge? Because she can't win a badge, would she have gotten a chance to choose somebody else? Would the badge just have been just like voided out? Like, I kind of wanted to see what would have happened there.
They also did some very clear splicing of footage for that, because there were times where they were like, everybody unanimously said Georges except for Georges, and Georges said so-and-so. And then you're looking at everybody's, and like some of them I got Mick and whatever. I'm like, no, that wasn't unanimous. What the fuck? And then you looked at the scoreboard and they're like, yes, 11-11. I'm like, okay, so clearly they're not airing all the funds because we've only seen 4, so that's an interesting one. Shenanigans. Yeah. But again, like, it's their show. Whatever.
Yeah. They played till Gottmik lost. And they were like, all right, Georges, congratulations.
They should have played until Chanel won. I swear. Everybody just give her a badge, please. Honestly, you're getting to a point in the competition where I would block Chanel. Make sure that nobody, like, keep her in the bottom. And you know what? I would own the shit out of that. I'd be like, it would be so brutal. I'm so sorry. Especially in a charity season, being like, fuck your charity. You're not. To be fair, she can get in the top 2 and win money for the charity. She just can't get it back.
Correct. Yes, that's what I'm happy that they clarified that like you can still win money for your charity, because I still like there's something so weird to me about on a charity season, again, being like, fuck your charity, fuck the cats and dogs.
Bam. Yeah. Fuck the ASPCA. I can't talk.
I'm sad they didn't air Chanel's joke about that, saying, I'm so glad that you're here, Vanjie, representing the ASPCA. Now, if you could just get RuPaul to stop with his animal cruelty, and if he's not going to give Chanel a badge, just... Or wait, that wasn't Chanel. It was whoever was telling that about Chanel.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see that on the actual RuPaul, on the Drost. So
it is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, is there anything else from the mini challenge? I think, like, for me, the biggest thing that came out of it was the question about Secretary of Delusion, that being Angeria, because then this also comes up in the workroom afterwards where Georges is like, I just think it's funny that you get changed to do a lip sync.
Meanwhile, like, literally everybody does. Did you not see Nina get dressed up as a stupid ass elf last week?
Yeah, she was fucking Santa. Like, what?
Yeah, maybe there's some shit that we're not seeing with Angeria. Like, maybe she is a bit more like confident in the workroom and backstage more than we're seeing. I don't know.
It is interesting because from a fan perspective, I would have thought, like, maybe Vanjie's the delusional one or something like that.
She definitely was the delusional one for not guessing the big juicy ass on Roxy and herself. Like,
Thank you.
Herself. Ridiculous.
Oh,
you've lost your mind, honey.
I love her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was very bizarre. I personally, if I were answering it, which would have been really funny to see what the audience would answer to these questions.
Let's see what the audience thinks.
Great. Exactly. Is there anything else from this episode that either of you want to talk about? After the elimination, Gottmik calling out Roxy for saying, because when Roxy was like, oh, I don't know where I am, and Gottmik was like, that's bullshit. That was very funny to see happen in real time. I enjoyed that very much.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say how much of an icon Ruta Lee is, in the fact that you have someone who is 70 plus years into the industry and comes and is vocally very pro LGBTQ, pro women's rights, pro everything, and coming on, and especially in Untucked, and like doing her Texas flag reveal and being like, our brothers and sisters in Texas need our help and support, and blah, blah, blah. And I think, how freaking iconic is that? We don't see a lot of elderly people banging the drum like this on a national platform who are from literally almost from old Hollywood itself. Like, incredible. So I just wanted to give that shout out. Yeah.
She's 88. That's wild to me also.
And she looks, oh my God, if I was amazing.
I know.
She looks amazing.
The closest person I could think of would be Dolly Parton, right? Obviously, But yeah, she's 10 years older than Dolly Parton and is still out here looking absolutely fabulous.
Let's get Dolly Parton on Drag Race. Season 17 premiere. Let's make it happen.
Well, howdy, Ru.
I think that's it. I think we've covered everything from this episode. I'm excited. What was next week? All I remember seeing in the promo was like the Nina
They're going to be doing something with Ru, something like
it's an acting challenge with Ru as like their director and co-star, and I think it's
yes.
I don't know if they have. I don't know if it's improv or what, but it sounds like it will.
I think it seems improv-y. It's like they each do a sketch with Ru, but Ru is also directing within it. It seemed like, so maybe it is just an acting challenge. I have no idea. We'll find out next week.
Haven't had too many of these challenges in the past few seasons, like both All Stars and regular seasons. And I actually always enjoy the seasons where RuPaul and the girls act together, because you really do get a sense that RuPaul has good theater chops. Mm-hmm. And also knows how to shape somebody into a good drag performer in terms of acting and such. And I just, those moments, like her slapping Jujubee by accident and like those kind of, just some of those are just really good. So I look forward to it.
Hopefully we'll get some more moments next week. Yeah. And we will be back, of course, to cover everything from episode 7. Again, that does it for us. You can follow me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. Beth, where can people find you? Is there anything you want to plug?
You can find me at AugustaWind11 on all my social media platforms. And no, I'm just chilling out doing some Drag Race coverage and trying to stay afloat with my other work.
And Aman, what about you?
You can follow me everywhere at Aman Adwin. Just kicking it here for Drag Race so far. BB26 on the horizon, baby. 1 month away, at least from when we're
recording. A month from today, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Mm-hmm. I'm not mentally prepared.
I don't think anyone is ever truly mentally prepared. I think we all get excited. Then like 3 weeks in, we're like, fuck this show.
Yeah. I know. Like, oh, this is why. Yeah. Nah, it'll be great. It'll be fun. And if you want to support us, you can, of course, leave your star ratings and reviews for us on iTunes. Rob has a website.com/drag race. And that's my Roxy of Glory Hole.
Glory Hole.
Oh my gosh. And thank you, of course, the whole RHAP team for all of their help behind the scenes, getting this out into your ears and into your eyes. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.